Hi, welcome back to my channel. This video is entitled 3 Stages of Spiritual Growth. So I have been reading from First Chronicles. It is good, but what I am realizing is that there are 3 stages of growth that we go through while healing and walking with God. And I briefly touched on one in a previous post. David went through 3 distinct phases. Phase number 1, doubt and knowing, but not knowing. He was anointed king over Israel, but waited years while enduring persecution and painful trials, fearing for his life at times, even though he was consecrated as king in his youth. The promise did not manifest for ages. This discouragement led to frustration, but through it all, God kept him. Phase 2, the realization. I will reiterate that in 1 Chronicles chapter 14, verses 1 and 2, after seeing the Lord bless David with those who were willing to serve him to ensure that God's promises for his life came to pass, men came to give their time and support to build his palace. It was then that David understood that the Lord had established and confirmed him as king. After every trial that the Lord had delivered David from up to this point was when he finally attained awareness of God's favor. Phase 3, accepting his grace and favor. It is hard when we know our past, our weaknesses, and the sins that we have committed. We don't understand or comprehend how a perfect God could ever love us. We can't because, for the most part, the guilt of our past haunts us, making us unreceptive to God's mercy. I say this to say that I am imperfect, having done many antithetical things. I can still feel contempt for myself if I am not careful in knowing that this level of thinking is not of God. When David wanted to build the temple for the Lord, his heart was in the right place, but God had a different plan. And I'm going to deviate for a minute because I saw an old video with Tony Gaskins one morning. He was speaking about the love he had for his wife and her humility. I immediately thought of this in how the Lord answered David. In all my journeys with all the Israelites, have I ever asked any of the leaders I appointed to shepherd my people, why have you not built me a house of cedar? 1 Chronicles chapter 17, verse 6, and this is from the Berean Standard Bible, or the BSB. I had to reflect on this statement because this humbleness comes from the ultimate creator. I just want someone to recognize this. A consuming fire who is gentle but humble. This is awesome. So back to the 3rd stage. As I read further and was given further confirmation from God on another issue, I observed that David did so in humility when he went in and sat before the Lord in private, but also in a manner of spiritual healing and maturity. David said, "Therefore now, O Lord, let the word which you have spoken concerning your servant and his house endure forever, and do as you have said." And that is chapter 17, verse 23. What I perceived of this is that David had realized that although he didn't feel worthy at times, he would trust that his loving father wanted to bless him. Be fully aware that God will fulfill his promises no matter how long it takes, or rather in his time. And even more importantly, it is up to us to accept them. When it is from God, you can do this with confidence, always knowing that there is no darkness in him, no underlying motives. That is because he loves you and wants to see you happy. The Lord wants to bless you. A part of healing is to know that if God, your significant other, or anyone that truly loves you is willing to give and pour into you, you are to accept it with meekness and the willingness to reciprocate. Hear that? Reciprocate this same love in return. This is a part of having faith. I was hurt the other day by a situation, and I would have said that I won't allow myself to be taken advantage of again. But I am now in a place where I will not put up a wall. That it is good to feel even hurt and pain if it is processed correctly, cultivating it for a better me. I won't fear love because I want to receive love and to also freely give it. So I hope that this blesses you. And remember, I'm not saying to let someone walk all up in your life, stepping on your heart, but use discernment. The old saying is true. It is better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. I instinctively thought of Nabal, Abigail's husband. Whatever the ailment behind it, it is written that his heart became like a stone and he died in his sin. Heed the warning. Always coming from a place of love. Thank you for joining me again. Thank you.